You ever wonder if there's anything we can know with absolute 100% certainty? For centuries, it seemed like the answer was a clear yes, and that answer was math, right? Mathematics was seen as this perfect, unbreakable fortress of truth. But what if I told you that in the 20th century, a single idea revealed a tiny crack in that fortress's foundation? A crack that turned out to run all the way through. This, right here, is the question at the very heart of our story today, and it's a big one. It's a question that doesn't just mess with mathematicians, it challenges our whole idea of what knowledge even is. And this whole thing, it all got started because one man had this grand ambition to settle the matter once and for all. And this is our guy, David Hilbert. He was one of the most brilliant and influential mathematicians of his time. And this quote, this wasn't just some hopeful little phrase. It was a battle cry. It was him declaring war on doubt, on uncertainty itself. It was a promise that humanity could, and absolutely would, achieve complete and total mathematical knowledge. Now, to really get why Hilbert was so fired up about this, you've got to understand what was happening around the turn of the 20th century. Mathematics was, well, it was kind of having an identity crisis. New paradoxes were popping up, ideas about infinity were getting really weird, and it was shaking the confidence of even the smartest people in the room. Hilbert's response wasn't to back down, but to launch one of the most ambitious projects in the entire history of human thought. So around 1920, Hilbert, working with his colleagues like Paul Bernays, came up with what we now call Hilbert's program. The goal was simple to say, but absolutely monumental to do. They were going to rebuild all of mathematics from the ground up on a foundation so solid, so unshakable, that it would answer all these foundational questions forever. So, how on earth do you even start to tackle a problem that big? I mean, where do you begin? Well, Hilbert wasn't just a dreamer. He had a very concrete two-step plan to get to this ultimate mathematical certainty. Okay, so step one, formalize everything. The idea was to take all of classical math, we're talking everything from 1 + 1 = 2, all the way up to complex analysis and set theory, and translate it into one single, perfect, formal language. Think of it like creating a rulebook for math that had zero ambiguity, zero loopholes. But that was really only half the battle. The second step was the real killer. They had to prove that this new, perfect system was consistent. That means showing it could never, ever lead to a contradiction. Like proving that 2 + 2 is 4 and also 5. And here's the really important part. This proof of consistency had to use only what Hilbert called finitary mathematics. Basically, you could only use methods that were super simple, totally self-evident, like counting pebbles. No abstract, tricky concepts like infinity were allowed. The proof itself had to be so rock solid that nobody could ever doubt it. This was the key to the whole thing. For about a decade, the program was actually moving forward. It was this huge effort, a quest for the ultimate prize in human intellect. And then, a quiet, brilliant young logician from Vienna named Kurt Gödel shows up. And with a single paper, he's about to change, well, everything. In 1931, Kurt Gödel published a paper that didn't just poke a hole in Hilbert's program, it completely pulled the rug out from under the entire project. His famous incompleteness theorems revealed a fundamental and totally inescapable limit to what mathematics could ever do. This really gets to the core of the whole conflict. See, Hilbert's dream was built on one big assumption. If a mathematical statement is true, then sooner or later we should be able to prove it. But Gödel's shocking discovery was that in any powerful system like the one Hilbert wanted, there will always be statements that are true but are impossible to prove using the system's own rules. It's like a logical blind spot that's baked right into the fabric of math itself. You can imagine the implications of this were just massive and immediate. This wasn't some minor setback you could work around. It was like a philosophical earthquake that brought Hilbert's entire beautiful quest to a screeching halt. Gödel's work wasn't just a theory or an opinion up for debate. No, it was a cold, hard, logical proof. It was like a master locksmith showing up and proving mathematically that some doors are just fundamentally unopenable. It was, without a doubt, a decisive blow. So Hilbert's grand quest for absolute provable certainty, it was shattered. Gödel didn't just find a little problem with Hilbert's plan. He proved that the entire goal was, and always had been, impossible from the start. So here's the knockout punch broken down. Gödel's first theorem basically says any powerful system you build will either have contradictions or it'll be incomplete, meaning it has true things it can't prove. But then came the second theorem, which was even more devastating. It showed that one of those unprovable truths is, wait for it, the statement of the system's own consistency. A system can't prove that it's consistent using its own rules. And just like that, Hilbert's all-important second step became completely, utterly impossible. Now, it would be really easy to just look at this as a story of failure. And look, in one sense, it absolutely was. But like what happens so often in science, the journey turned out to be way more important than the destination, and it left behind a surprising and incredibly powerful legacy. So let's be real about the outcome. The original program, as Hilbert imagined it, failed. That dream of one single, perfect, provably consistent foundation for all of mathematics, yeah, that was gone. The grand quest to banish all doubt from math had slammed into an unbreakable wall. But look at what happened along the way. In trying to build this perfect system, Hilbert's team had to invent all these powerful new tools in logic. They basically created a whole new field called proof theory. And all this super intense work on formal systems and algorithms and rules, well, it turned out to be the exact intellectual toolkit needed for the next great technological revolution. And this is the incredible, almost ironic twist in the story. That rigorous study of formal rules, algorithms, and proofs, the very heart of Hilbert's program, it laid the direct theoretical groundwork for computer science. The very logic that failed to bring certainty to math became the logic that now powers our entire digital world. Literally, every time you use a computer or your phone, you are using a machine that is built on the very principles they discovered during this failed quest for certainty. So, in the end, Hilbert's quest for absolute certainty didn't find what it was looking for. But in failing, it revealed a much deeper truth about the limits of what we can know. And it gave us the tools to build the modern world. It really leaves us with a fascinating question, though. If even the pure, logical world of mathematics has uncertainty baked right into it, what does that mean for how we build knowledge in every other, much messier part of our lives?